What's up, everyone? Aaron Nagler here with Cheesehead TV, coming to you live with your Packers Daily Chat on a Monday afternoon, wherever you are on the internet, because that's what we do at Cheesehead TV. We're devoted to Green Bay Packers fans worldwide. How is everyone? Good to see people already in the chat. Always nice to see people showing up early. The Packers news breaking just before we go live, putting in a waiver claim and claiming a tight end off of Jacksonville's scrap heap, so to speak, replacing the tight end that retired, the undrafted guy from Duke, whose name I've already forgotten. Far be it for me to relegate somebody to the title of Camp Body, but it's pretty much Camp Body. Hello, everybody. Well, this is an interesting first question. Has Bleacher Report reached out to get you on the Lefko show? It's funnily enough, Adam and I have been talking about doing something together, whether it's his show or my podcast or something. It'll happen. I love Adam. He's a good guy, good friend. Hey, Aaron, thanks for doing what you do. Chris, thanks for checking in. You know, June, it's about to slow down real hard here on the Packers news front, but minicamp starts tomorrow, and we're here to cover it for you each and every day. Cheesehead TV coming to you live. Great shirt. Thanks, Bo. How you like it? Well, Cheesehead TV action on the shoulder there, on the sleeve. Available in the Cheesehead TV shop soon, people. A lot of ball game left. Always a lot of ball game left. How much for the shirt? Christopher, I'm glad you asked. It'll be $25. Available at the Cheesehead TV shop soon. Not yet, but soon. Is Kaiser going to ball out in the new run-first scheme? I hope so. I really hope so. He's been through a number of different coordinators in his brief time in the NFL so far. He's still a very young man. Hopefully, LaFleur can unlock whatever potential lies within. I haven't seen a whole lot of it yet, but hopefully, best days are ahead. Thanks for making my 12-hour workday not so miserable. Evan, that's why I'm here, man. You know, people sitting at work, trying to forget their troubles, trying to forget their work. That's why I do what I do, man. You know, come on here, let's talk some Packers for a little bit, make you forget your day. Talk about Josh Jones. Do we think Josh Jones is going to show up? Mike, I've been waiting all day to hear word. Trying to find out. Is he in the building? Did he show up? Airtight. I expect that news will undoubtedly come out some point, probably overnight. Maybe even while we're live. Who knows? But if I were a betting man, I'd say he shows up. But Nagler's never right, so we'll see. What's your opinion on GM/head coach hierarchy for roster success? It seems more logical for the head coach to have roster control like in Seattle. Herbert, I am of the exact opposite opinion, actually. I know Pete Carroll has had final say, but, you know, John Schneider does a lot of the heavy lifting there. And ultimately, I'm of the opinion, I've always been of the opinion, if someone were to hand me a franchise tomorrow, I would hire a general manager to oversee football, much like Ron Wolf did, and much like Ted Thompson did. Yeah, that is, to me, the way it should be run. Now, can you be successful other ways? Of course. We've seen plenty of other instances of teams breaking up the decision-making and having success. We'll see if the Packers go down that road. Obviously, they've been of that model for a very long time, and how Mark Murphy has decided to deviate from it, and we'll see what the results are. But to me, I want someone disconnected from the players making the decisions on the roster and personnel. Now, obviously, this is only one example, but when Mike Sherman was general manager and having to answer to the players and having to do things like determine who was staying and going and who should get playing time, etc., and who he should pay, who he should hand contracts out to, he let his coach side dictate way too much on his GM side. And to me, that is the danger, and where the kind of Chinese wall needs to be in existence, for me anyway. I want the general manager making dispassionate decisions about guys that the coach has to deal with every day, talks to in meetings, on the practice field, in games, etc. He's the one with the relationship day in and day out with the players, whereas the personnel side, they're not only obviously evaluating the roster in-house, but they're looking at things outside the building. They're looking at other pro teams. They're looking at college guys, etc. They're the ones who have to take the 30,000-foot view, and not to mention the view going forward down the line. when deciding which contracts to hand out and which guys to re-sign, which guys to let walk. I want someone who's not quite as invested personally, doesn't have that day in and day out connection with the player. I think ultimately for the success of a football team, that's the ideal way. Now, again, plenty of different ways to do it. Plenty of people have had success doing it a number of different ways, but to me, that's preferable. Is Ticket King any good? You're looking for tickets? Let me tell you about Ticket King. They've been around since 1992. They're located right across the street from Lambeau Field, and they have all your ticket needs ready to be handled, both home and away. And if you're not in Green Bay, you can go to cheeseheadtv.com and look for the link to Ticket King. It's right there, about halfway down, middle of the page. Anything you need when it comes to Green Bay Packers tickets, Ticket King will take care of it for you. Does Manny Wilkins have a chance to be number 2? What does he bring to the team? It's a really good question. It's so early in the process, it's really hard to say what he will or won't be able to do at the NFL level. I am very interested to see him come training camp. Does he have a shot at number 2? That is a huge jump. You can't say it's impossible, but it would be a pretty big shock if he went into the season as their backup quarterback to Aaron Rodgers. How's MVS look this spring? All reports say, and everyone says that he looks fantastic. But again, as we always say, the superstars in June don't mean a whole heck of a lot once the pads come on in August and into September. Who has the best chance to be an elite corner? We need great cornerback play with all the elite receivers the Packers will play this season. Matt, that's a really good point. I think the sky is the limit for Jair Alexander. I think Kevin King is really talented, and he could be a very, very good corner. But I think Jair could be the elite guy you're looking for. Now, as I've mentioned before here on this chat, he's got a long way to go. He's got incredible upside, incredible ceiling, but you saw more. He definitely took his lumps last year. And as much as we love to pump things up in the offseason and remember all the good stuff he did, he certainly had his tough stretches as well. All that said, if there's a guy who has the ability on the team currently, it's definitely Jair. Let's head over to Twitter, shall we? See what's going on in the old tweet machine. Adam starting us off with, what were your thoughts, feelings when Rodgers got drafted? And what did you feel when they moved on from Favre and made Rodgers QB1 a few years later? Were you rational about it at all, or was it just emotions at the time? Woo, there's a lot to unpack there, Adam. First of all, what did I feel when they moved on from Favre? Or what? Sorry, when Rodgers got drafted. I don't know. It was just the way it happened. It was so organic. The way he fell, the momentum built. And I remember Chris Berman going, "Come on, pull the trigger, Packers, blah blah blah." And I thought, "Oh my gosh, I never thought this would happen." But there he is. Yeah, I think they have to take him, and then they took him. And I remember thinking, all right, I'm pretty disappointed that they didn't get Favre some help. Back then it was the drumbeat every offseason was you got to help Favre win another Super Bowl. You got to help Favre win another Super Bowl. And then they take a quarterback. Well, okay. I remember Corey was very excited. I was pretty nonplussed. I mean, didn't hate the guy. I wasn't upset about it. I knew he was really talented, but that's about it. Corey was very excited. I remember because that draft happened obviously in the spring. Later that summer, my band played downtown, and between songs, the song ends, I go, "Thank you," people clap, and then it just starts to die down, and you hear from the back of the room Corey going, "Aaron Rodgers." Leslie just did that after every song. So Corey was on board early. As for the transition from Favre to Rodgers, I was very much in the pro-Rodgers camp. I remember taking Madeline, my oldest, who was then, I think, 12 or something, maybe younger than that. We went to family night, the famous one where Favre showed up and distracted everybody and people were booing Aaron Rodgers. That was a surreal experience. But we at Cheesehead TV in general, Corey and I, we were both very pro sticking with Rodgers. We thought the move made a hell of a lot of sense. We'd spent years hemming and hawing, and every offseason was about, is Favre going to retire, etc. Favre had retired. Now he wanted back. I was very adamant that the Packers had made the right call and they needed to stick with Rodgers. They had made that commitment, etc. And then the drama played out, and yes, it was emotional, but I was always of the opinion that Ted was the decision-making in that regard, he and Mike, I thought, handled it about as well as could be handled. And I was always, once they handed the reins, I thought, yes, it is now Aaron's team. They have to stick with that. That was just me. Do you think the Packers have the potential to be legitimate Super Bowl contenders this year? Whew, man, the big questions today. Do they have the potential to be? Yes. I think the potential is there. Do I think they're going to reach it? I think if everybody stays healthy, Matt LaFleur is the second coming of Mike Martz as a play caller, and Mike Pettin dials up everything he dialed up when he was the defensive coordinator for the Jets back in 2009. Put all that together, and they, no one gets hurt. Sure. But we all know that's not how real life works. I will be pleasantly surprised if they make a deep postseason run. That would be great. But I do think this team, first-year head coach, a lot of questions on the offensive side of the ball in regards to the marrying of the new scheme with the personnel. A lot of moving parts on defense. I think they're a year away. But I've been wrong before. That's why they called. Nagler's never right. I'm so sick of hearing Bears fans saying, "Ha had better season than Amos last year." Film Trump's stats, people. Can Rodgers and LaFleur develop a game plan to roast and shut these damn people up? Well, hashtag Bears still suck will always be in my heart. They're not going to put together a game plan specifically to roast Now, will there be a play where they say, you know what, we can take advantage of here? Undoubtedly. But look, I just want the W. I don't care about going in and doing anything against Clinton Dix. He's a Bear now, and he's part of the enemy, and we just want to beat the enemy. And I want to go in and get a W in Chicago. That's all I care about. The rest of this is, man, let Bears fans have a W in June. Who cares? All that matters is a W in September. I don't care about any of the other nonsense, really. It's time for the long NFL information desert until training camp. Andy, that's cheery. So let's think about the future of the NFL. Which is more likely to come true in the next 5 years? Rotating O-linemen, like D-linemen, by situation, or expanding the roster to 57 players? In the next 5 years, Andy, I would say much more likely an expansion of the roster to 57 players. I think there's a very good possibility that happens with the negotiations of the new CBA, which is coming, I believe, in a year and a half. So, rotating O-linemen, I can't imagine that happening so quickly as far as specialization. Now, maybe it's in the pipeline, but most people in the NFL swear blind when it comes to the need for cohesion and the ability to work together along the offensive line. And they always point to injuries and having to shuffle guys around for why offensive lines kind of fall off. So maybe if it's specialized and it's coached and that's what they do, maybe, but I think that's a ways off, if it's ever going to happen. Let's head back over to the chat, shall we? DJ, what up, Aaron Nagy? What's up? How are you? Funny thing about this all is how Bears fans praise how a Packer player played last year and Packer fans praising how a Bears player played last year. I agree. It is kind of funny. Why is the YouTube stream so far behind the Twitter stream? Matub, I have no idea. It's not my department, man. Just win, baby. You got that right. Packers' new team members on defense looking a lot like what the Bears built, though. You mean they wanted their defense to get better? The Bears had one of, if not the best defense in the league last year. Shouldn't that be what the Packers are aspiring to? I don't understand. Was the Rodgers draft the last draft Corey was excited for? Probably. It's been a while. Ooh, Christopher, bringing in the heat. What is Aaron Rodgers' biggest flaw? Man, I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole. This is the internet, man. This is like a place where people go and they look at me saying something about Aaron Rodgers and his flaws, something negative, and they go crazy. Where can you get that shirt? You can get it at the Cheesehead TV shop soon. It's not there yet, but soon. Andy, I am not singing for you, no sir. Nags for backup QB, nobody wants that. Capri Bibbs! It's not a chat till we get a Capri Bibbs mention. Could he be a scat back? Maybe, but they've never really leaned that way. Now, it's a new system, new coach, maybe new utilization, but the coach isn't picking the players. Brian Gutekunst is. The lineage that Gutekunst comes from would suggest that Bibbs has a very long shot of getting there week 1. Can you explain the pros and cons of moving Jackson to safety? They seem deep at corner and thin after the starters at safety. Well, look, they drafted him to be a corner. They've given him this whole year and now the beginning of the offseason to continue on the path of corner. If they were going to make that switch, they most likely would have done it prior to OTAs. Now, that doesn't mean they can't do it here now after minicamp and during the break, but they clearly like him at corner. They like his ball skills. They like his potential ability as far as coverage goes. As far as the depth at safety, I totally hear what you're saying. Obviously, it's less than comforting when you look down the depth chart, but they clearly must like some of what they've got, whether it's Raven Green, Mike Tyson, who have you. They see them every day in practice. We do not. And clearly, so far, they seem pretty content. So I'm more than willing to go into training camp and see with my own eyes what they've got back there. Because let's face it, there's a lot of stuff a lot of guys who we haven't seen play. And we see the names and we think, oh, they have nobody there. But, we don't know. We don't know what they got. So I'm excited to see. Will the NFL ever stop the Thursday night games? Not good for the players, Bud. No, not anytime soon anyway. I actually mentioned this a couple days ago, or a couple weeks ago on Twitter. Amazon just paid a 30% increase for the next 2 years, starting last year, of Thursday night. That's just the streaming rights. Millions and millions of dollars. That's before they talk about the broadcast rights. And that goes into the pot that pays players. And the players don't want to walk away from that money. And there are some players who actually enjoy Thursday nights. I remember when I tweeted it, Mitchell Schwartz from the Kansas City Chiefs. He said it's like getting a mini bye. He loves it. And they barely practice during the week. So not good for the players. I agree. But if it, helps them get this $10 million increase every offseason when it comes to the salary cap, it increases the pool of money that the players are dipping into as far as teams paying out salaries and bonuses, etc. I don't see it going away anytime soon. And as far as the rights themselves, the price tag is only going to go up. Thursday Night Football is not going away anytime soon. Oh my God, what a choice. Brett Hundley or Scott Tolzien? Holy cow. Give me Scott Tolzien. Nags, what Packers team would win? 2010 Packers versus the 97 Packers, not the 96, 97 Packers. I say 97 Packers. That's just me. Can we re-sign Daniels, Bulaga, and Clark? Could they? Sure. Will they? I doubt it. I think Daniels and Bulaga will both be allowed to walk after this season, and I think Clark will definitely get re-signed sooner rather than later. My prediction. Hey, are you looking for Packers tickets, either for home games or away games? You should check out Ticket King, conveniently located online at cheeseheadtv.com, about halfway down the page. You can go to Ticket King. They've been around since 1992. They have all your ticket needs for every single Green Bay Packers game, preseason, home, away. If they go to the playoffs, they get those too. Ticket King. Check them out for all your Green Bay Packers tickets needs. Oh, Mike, better burger, Kroll's or Culver's. Why don't you just ask me to choose between my children? That's an impossible question. Will the refs be better this year? No. Why am I afraid that the majority of our points will be field goals? Ooh, Devin coming in hot with the negativity. Hey, man, you're true to character, and you know what? I admire that. You don't waver. Like, if you can't find a negative thing to type about, you just don't type anything. And that's good, man. That's good. You got to be true to yourself. Keep it up. Willie Davis or Reggie White? Whoo, Sly. Well, Willie Davis obviously is the real all-time sack leader when it comes to the Green Bay Packers, but give me Reggie White. He changed everything. I love Ticket King. Andy, I do too. Do you think this new offense is easier for the wide receivers to learn than McCarthy's? Travis, I don't think it's a question of easier. The concepts are similar, right? I mean, a post route is a post route. A curl is a curl. You know, you're running similar, if not the same routes. It's a question of what adjustments you're making, both when it comes to getting off the line of scrimmage and seeing the coverage and reading it the same way the quarterback is. And it's also about ease of release and getting into space and what role the offensive design plays in that. But I think as far as like learning it, it's still football and you're still learning it at the highest level possible. It's still tough. Nags, do you know how Matt LaFleur would use the running backs? Alex, I would tend to think, I got to take him at his word, it will be a bit of a committee. I do think Aaron Jones will see an uptick in production and or usage, but I also think that he will make sure that he's giving that guy a bit of a rest now and then. And I think it's not quite the committee that Mike McCarthy had. I think he'll be a little bit more fluid when it comes to allowing Jones to get into a rhythm. But I do think there will be spells, there will be times when there will be certain packages and certain situations where they think they can take advantage of their opponent week in and week out. And that's the other thing. I think some of this will be opponent dependent. But for the most part, I think you'll see a little bit more usage for Jones, but it will still be a committee. Over under on the undrafted free agents on the 53 this year. Ask me again during training camp. Like 10 days into camp, I have a better feel for that. James Jones or Randall Cobb? I don't know. Yes. Is Matt LaFleur going to incorporate Spider 2 Y banana? He better. I love that play. Oren Burks has to play better this season. I agree, Jordan. He's got to take a significant jump, especially considering where he was drafted. And the thing is he knows. It's no mystery. The coaches know for sure. And Gutekunst has touched on it as well. There's no mystery when it comes to him and Jamon Moore. Both those guys have to play better. And look, we can get excited about the rookies, and it's always nice to see new guys incorporated into the offense and the defense, etc. But the biggest improvements, especially from within the roster, have to come from guys who were here last year that continue to develop. And we've seen great promise from a lot of the class last year, but we got to see something out of those two guys in particular in 2019. We will trade you Duke Johnson for an orange practice cone. Thanks, Mick. We'll let you know. I'll talk to Elliot Wolf about it. Ha! Jarrett Boykin or Jeff Janis? Give me Boykin all day, every day. Thoughts on the tight end room right now? Joseph, I know they picked a guy up, but, really, that was to replace the Duke kid who retired. Ultimately, it's no different. It's, Graham, Lewis, and then I think it's, the draft pick and Tanyan fighting it out, essentially. All caps, is the Canada game going to be on TV outside of Wisconsin? I doubt it. I would suggest getting yourself NFL Game Pass. You can see all the preseason games on it. If Moore doesn't play better, would he be at risk of being cut? Ryan, I think so. I know they used a significant draft pick on the kid, but if he goes into the season after a tough and or bad training camp, yeah, I could see them cutting their losses there. Now, it's a long way to go. Obviously, sometimes injury helps kind of make these decisions, but numbers-wise. But, if he's as bad as he was for a lot of camp last year, dropping everything, etc., yeah, there's a chance. Savage, that's funny. Nagler thinks Rodgers has a flaw and hates the 2010 Packers. Exactly. J.K. Scott for team MVP. Don't let Corey hear you talking that way. Thanks. What's your thoughts on Davante Adams during the 2015 season? Woo, way back machine. I remember a lot of people wanting him cut. I remember knowing that he was injured after that Kansas City game where he rolled his ankle. It got really frustrating for him down the stretch there. I know that. I was always, and the Twitter receipts are there, always saying we gotta let him develop. We gotta give it time. And I understand people's emotional nature. Hell, there were guys on the team that didn't want Rodgers thrown to him anymore. That's how bad it got. And it's funny because if you go back and you actually look at the season, and I've done this, if you go back and watch every game, he actually has a decent, solid outing until he does get hurt in that Kansas City game. And even after that, he's okay. It's the second half of the home game against the Lions. That was atrocious. And Davante will be the first to tell you it was probably as bad as he's ever played. But that half of football colored everyone's perceptions for the rest of the year. He wasn't nearly as bad as people maybe remember or make it out to be, but that half was terrible. I mean, it was god-awful, and the internet completely latched onto it and blew it up. But yeah, I mean, the young guy, just starting out in the league. Got to let him develop. I love General Elliott or Vince Beagle, Javon Walker or James Jones, Bob McGinn or Vic Ketchum. Woo, baby! All right, I'm gonna have to jump after all that, and I'm punting on all of those. Thanks so much for joining me today, everybody. Minicamp starts tomorrow. I'll be back with some extra cheese to chat about whatever comes out of the start of minicamp. Make sure you're checking cheeseheadtv.com for everything and always and everything about the Green Bay Packers. If it's happening in the green and gold or around the green and gold, we'll have it for you. And please, here, YouTube, Facebook, like, subscribe, share, tell your friends, tell your family. And if you're so inclined, please head over to Patreon, patreon.com/cheeseheadtv. Give us $5 a month to support everything we do here. Because look, there's a lot that goes on at Cheesehead TV. Behind the scenes, on the website, podcasts, posts, breakdowns, chats, everything we do. $5 a month helps support that. And it gives you exclusive access to my podcast, Naglers Never Right. Working on a fun guest for you guys. So hope you can help us out in that regard. In the meantime, I'll be back tomorrow. Thanks a lot, everybody. Have a great night.